These 10 people killed in the deadliest mass shooting in America since 2019. Flowers now lined up outside a Colorado supermarket and on top of a fallen police officer's cruiser after all 10 were gunned down. The president ordered flags to fly at half-staff and addressed the nation calling for a ban on assault rifles.
I don't need to wait another minute, let alone an hour, to take common sense steps that will save the lives in the future.
Police identified the gunman, and his family reveals issues with his mental health. The big question tonight, why did the gunman target people in and outside that grocery store and kill them seemingly at random?
The police officer killed in a shootout with the gunman was 51-year-old Eric Talley, a father of 7. His children range in age from 7 to 20. Tarek Meyer begins our coverage tonight with more on the victims and how they're being remembered. Tarek?
Well, we have their names and 2 of their photos. The victims range in age from 20 to 65. One was a young store manager, another a man who just walked his daughter down the aisle last summer and was about to welcome a granddaughter into the family. Now investigators are releasing more about the gunman and what may have led up to this. The man seen being led away in handcuffs at the scene of the supermarket shooting is indeed the mass shooting suspect. His brother has identified him as 21-year-old Ahmad Alisa. Relatives tell investigators he suffers from mental illness and had delusions and thought people were following or chasing him. Investigators say the gunman started shooting customers in the parking lot and in the King Superstore on Monday at 2:33 p.m.
136, morning gunfight, hold the radio. 136, still multiple shots being fired at us.
Boulder police secured the crime scene 48 minutes after police got the initial call. The gunman killed 10 people, including Boulder police officer Eric Talley. Talley has 7 children. His sister says he always wanted to be a pilot, but couldn't because he was colorblind. President Biden says the officer's actions were heroic.
But when the moment the act came, Officer Tully did not hesitate in his duty, making the ultimate sacrifice in his effort to save lives. That's a definition of an American hero.
Police identified the other 9 victims today, including 25-year-old supermarket employee Ricky Olds, pictured on the left. She was a deli clerk and also worked as a front end manager at the supermarket. The victims are all between the ages of 20 and 65. Alisa purchased the gun 6 days before the shooting. An arrest warrant describes him as being armed with either an assault rifle or black AR-15. He was wearing a tactical or armored vest. The victims were located in the store and in the parking lot. A green rifle case was also seen in his car. Police say Alisa had removed all his clothing and was only dressed in shorts before surrendering to authorities with a gunshot wound to the leg. While being led away, he refused to tell officers if there were other suspects with him, but he requested to speak with his mother. The arrest warrant also reveals the gunman killed someone that he parked next to in the parking lot before randomly shooting others inside of the store. The motive is still unclear. Kent?
All right, thank you, Tarek. And we've got a more detailed timeline of what happened going into the overnight hours. Officers were dispatched at 2:40 Mountain Time yesterday. Boulder police tweeted an alert 9 minutes later. At 3:28, the suspect was in custody. So the shelter in place was lifted at 6:40. And then at 1:30 this morning, the last victim's body was removed from the scene. At 3:59 a.m., all families were notified. A U.S. Senate hearing on gun violence took on more urgency today in the wake of the supermarket shooting. Janice Harris listened to comments from senators about how to fix the problem. Is joining us now. Janice.
Kent, lots of discussion. And at the opening of the Judiciary Committee hearing, Senator Dick Durbin said gun violence is a public health crisis. The usual political lines were drawn, with Democrats calling for gun control legislation and Republicans emphasizing the right to bear arms for America's citizens. Senator Durbin called on action to help stop gun violence, not just prayers and moments of silence for the victims.
I could ask for a moment of silence for the mass shooting in Boulder last night. And after that is completed, I could ask for a moment of silence for the shooting in Atlanta 6 days ago. And after a minute, I could ask for a moment of silence for the 29 mass shootings that occurred this month in the United States. But in addition to a moment of silence, I would like to ask for a moment of action, a moment of real caring.
Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal accused Republicans of having no solution on guns. Senator Ted Cruz pushed back, blasting Democrats for what he called ridiculous theater.
I agree. It is time for us to do something. And every time there's a shooting, we play this ridiculous theater. I don't apologize for thoughts or prayers. I will lift up in prayer people who are hurting, and I believe in the power of prayer. And the contempt of Democrats for prayers is an odd sociological thing.
Chuck Grassley, the top Republican on the Judiciary Committee, says part of the problem is that the police are not funded well enough. Grassley says more funding would lead to better trained officers.